Oh no, this is getting worse the more I try to fix it. Come on, Super Sponge. I want to make you work. The Super Sponge is the latest generation of silicone makeup sponge, and it's sort of a hybrid between silicone sponge and normal blending sponge. The darker portion is the silicone coating, which won't absorb any of your foundation. The bottom is left uncoated, so it's like a normal sponge that can help blend or pick up excess product. It has anti-stain technology. It's supposed to save 50% of your foundation because it's not absorbing it through the silicone part. It's supposed to give you 4 times the coverage with your normal foundation, and it comes with a little scrubber to clean it as well as use it as a stand. Now, Tati gave this a rave review on her YouTube channel last year, and I typically agree with and trust her reviews, so I'm very excited to see how this works for me. This is the second version of the Super Sponge since they launched the product, and I'm going to be putting this updated version to the test against the Real Techniques Miracle Blending Sponge. Let's see how it does. If you're new here, hi, my name is Miranda. Welcome to my channel where we talk all things budget beauty. If that sounds interesting to you, then become the newest member of the Slashed Squad by hitting subscribe and the bell icon. Here are the sponges side by side dry. They are pretty similar in size, and here's what they look like wet and expanded. This is the exact same product, just in a different color that the brand sent me. The Super Sponge is $19.99 online. Now, what I find interesting is that the brand actually recommends that you replace the Super Sponge just as often as a normal one, which is every 3 months. So the savings doesn't really come into play in terms of replacing the product. So I guess you're supposed to really get the value out of using less product and therefore buying less makeup. This is the Kokie Full Coverage Foundation, and I am mixing the shades 40W and 60W. So this is how much I'm working with, and I'm gonna go in with the Real Techniques sponge first. Now, this has been a favorite at the drugstore for so long. I personally love the flat edge. It just makes doing foundation so much easier, as well as applying powder. Wow, perfect match much? So here's the results we get from the Real Techniques sponge. As you can see, it is beautifully blended, super even. So here's what we're starting out with. All right, that's already looking like way more than we need. So right off the bat, what's interesting about the Super Sponge is that there is bounce to it versus the original silicone makeup sponges, which were pretty solid. So you do get more of a normal feel with this. Interesting. So I feel like for a second, we were getting pretty good coverage there, and then I kind of went over the area with my blemishes again, and I feel like it almost picked up makeup from my face. Okay, let's add a little bit more. So particularly on my forehead, I feel like it looks smoother on the Real Techniques side than it does on the Super Sponge side. Like, I know I still have fine lines on the Real Techniques side, but I don't know, it just looks like I have a lot more texture over here. I'm also getting a little bit of patchiness. Like, there's this one area that I can't really seem to blend the product. Also, my pores are looking a lot bigger on the Super Sponge side. Okay, let's see if we can salvage with the uncoated part. Maybe this will help kind of soften the look. But here's the thing, like, if I have to use the uncoated side to get it to look nice and smooth, then why am I not just using a normal sponge? And it's not the foundation, because this side looks totally fine. It layered up the coverage totally fine. Oh no, this is getting worse the more I try to fix it. On the normal areas of my face, like the cheek here, it doesn't look bad. It does look pretty smooth, but anywhere I have texture, it doesn't look great. Like, this area is looking tragic. I'm back. I've also done my brows. Let's try to go in with concealer and see how this does. I'm using my Neutrogena Hydro Boost concealer for this. It is a very creamy and easy to blend concealer, so I have high hopes. First with the Real Techniques sponge. Gorgeous and easy. All right, going in with a fresh Super Sponge. Okay, I feel like that went a lot better than the foundation. It looks very smooth in this area, sort of on top of my cheekbone, on the orbital bone, which admittedly is an area I don't have a lot of texture. Between both of my under eyes, I'm actually not seeing a super big difference. Okay, so maybe there's a little bit of hope. Next, let's try baking. I'm gonna use the Honest Beauty Invisible Blurring Loose Powder. Going in with Real Techniques. Okay, I was able to pick up a lot of powder. Okay, I'm gonna let this sit while I do a little bit of eyeshadow action. I'll see you in a second. Okay, I'm back. I just did a quick eye look. Now I'm gonna dust off the powder that has been baking. Okay, that looks really good. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking like super up close and I think my under eyes look very, very similar. Okay, maybe we can redeem this in some way. Lastly, I wanna see how the Super Sponge does with cream contour and blush. Now, I've chosen 2 cream products that are usually very easy to blend out. This is the Physicians Formula Sculpting Bronzer with jojoba oil and the Honest Beauty Cream Cheek Blush. All right, first the Real Technique side. Now there is something to be said about using a normal sponge for cream contour because you can manipulate the shape to really get into your cheekbones. All right, and blush. Okay, you can actually squish the Super Sponge almost just as well as the Real Techniques one, so I can still get into my cheekbone area. Having the same problem where it's picking up the color the more I try to blend it out. Come on, Super Sponge. I want to make you work. Okay, let's try the blush. Ooh, okay. We're definitely getting a stronger color with the blush on the Super Sponge side, but not looking very even. You can see in like this area here, the sponge picked the product off of my face. Okay, here's the Real Technique side. And here's the Super Sponge side. You can definitely see that the shade is stronger on the Super Sponge side. It didn't sheer out the product as much. Okay, the more I look at the side, the blush doesn't look bad. The contour is a little bit harsh, but when I went in to keep blending it out, that's when the sponge started picking up product. Wow, that was a wild ride. But after some very careful consideration, I do think that the Super Sponge could work for some people. I just don't think I'm one of them. On the parts of my face that lean more normal and texture free, the Super Sponge did a good job at applying and blending out product. I also thought this was actually the perfect baking tool because it applied the powder under my eyes really evenly, but it didn't get all gunked up and cakey because of the powder. So I really liked that about the Super Sponge. That's probably how I'm going to be using it most moving forward. However, when using the Super Sponge over my more dry areas and textured skin, it didn't look good. I feel like the way it laid down product emphasized the texture. Additionally, I think the Super Sponge is best for applying complexion products such as foundation, concealer, and powder, and not so much cream contour and blush, just because of its tendency to start picking up a little product the more you blend it out. You may not be able to blend out your cream contour or blush as much as you would like. Also, I'm coming to the realization that this is probably not great for quickly setting matte makeup. I think because the silicone stays relatively dry even when the sponge is damp, that allowed the makeup to set on its surface quicker, which made it harder to blend out what was on my face. I am extremely curious. What do you all think of the Super Sponge and have you tried it? I would love to know what your experience was in the comments below. Today's shout out goes to Innie. Thanks for being a member of the Slashed Squad. And join me over in this video next, which is my last Shop My Stash. I pick out new products and review everything I've been using for the last month. I'll see you over there. Bye!